Guys, we apologize
So sorry.
for the technical difficulties. We've had many.
But we're here. Welcome to the
Should
pre-show
I,
show.
should I change the camera? Is it moving around?
It is moving, but it's okay. We just won't move that much. It's super crooked, but we're struggling, guys. We're fine.
I'll move the camera.
It's tilted.
I'll move it to the ground.
Yeah, thank you. Switch it to the ground, guys. Sorry, guys. We're a mess, but welcome to the pre-show show. Where you can't see, that's better. It's closer if you can, but if not, that's fine.
Don't think I can.
That'll work. Hi, guys. Real quick, how do we sound, guys? Do we sound okay? Mic check 1, 2. We had a little technical difficulties, but we're here. We're live from set. Thank you,
Yeah, we
Kimberly.
sound good-ish. We'll see. We'll test it.
Kimberly said that we sound great. Welcome back, guys. Pre-show show number 5 of the year. We are in Anderson, Indiana for the Indiana Classic. It's a little loud around us because we've got some interviews going on and whatnot. So if you guys need us to put the mics closer, please just tell us to do so. Kevin
Kevin
looks like a
sounds
baby.
good. Packy's a bit quiet and inaudible. Well, how's this sound? Does this sound better? Sounds good. Video's a little further back, but I like the FS1 plug, which is where we will be watching
Yes,
the
it
TV
is.
show today.
Yes, it is. The set's a little different than usual, so we're just doing with it what we can. You guys don't need to see us that much anyway, so it's fine.
No, you don't need to see anything.
So, here we are. Title number 5 of the year up for grabs. Oh my lands, the back is
Yo.
a mess right now.
Title number 5 of the year. 3 of these guys are going for 2 of them. First off, let's give a shout out to Dave Small's Championship Lanes in Indiana, which is where this week's tournament was held.
He's
Absolutely beautiful center. I think this was
It's like 90th or 80,
yeah,
89th.
he was mid 80s in PBA events held, whether it's 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, whatever he's holding for the age bracket. He's held some senior events. He's held some regular events.
Yep.
So shout out to him. Shout out to, obviously, you guys see us at the Fox Desks,
Yes.
PBA. Shout out. Go follow them on all of their social media channels. And today's sponsor of the event, which is one of the title sponsors of the tour, which is Just Bear. So shout out to all those guys for helping us do what we do, giving us the platform to go and do what we do for a living instead of just doing it for fun.
Yes. The sponsors go a long ways for us, so we appreciate everyone that's involved. Dave Small's one of the best proprietors we've had. Again, 89th or 90th event. That's a lot of PBA events. We don't
ridiculous.
bowl that many events throughout the year to host that many. So he's awesome. He is always such a happy guy when he sees us. He's got nothing but smiles. He takes care of us, and we try to take care of him as well. So thank you to him so much for all he's done. So without further ado, let's get into what's going on today. The telecast, who's bowling. We have many storylines, some new faces, some of the same faces that we've seen. And let's just get right into that today. Top 5 step ladder.
Top 5 step ladder. We're talking about who made the show as the 1 seed, EJ Tackett, as the 2 seed, Marshall Kent, 3 seed, Kyle Troop. All 3, well, Marshall and Kyle are going for their second title of the year. We have Benji Martinez, who is a newcomer. We've seen him on a show in the past. And then we have Zach Wilkins,
Making
who's
his first telecast.
making his first singles telecast. He made one years ago. Doubles with Patrick Gerard, and we actually have a special guest coming in soon.
Yes.
One of the guys
The
who
3
actually
seed.
made the show, the 3 seed
The 3 seed.
himself.
We're just gonna bring him in now. Come on.
Yeah, we're
Let's
gonna
get it.
we're gonna get him in
Mr.
here. Kyle Troop.
Let's get over it a little bit that way.
This is show number 3 for you.
Mic right there for you.
All right.
Right there.
This is gonna be show number.
Clip this?
No, you're good. You should
No,
be
you
all
just
right
hold it up.
All
You're
right.
good.
there. Right there.
This is show number 2 for the year.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How we feeling coming in today?
I feel good, man. Just knocked out the interviews, about to get some grub. Chilling,
Looking
man.
good?
Chilling. Yeah, I got the
Looking
good
good?
outfit on.
Tell him what the
You're
outfit
telling us
is.
a little bit about the outfit.
Yeah,
Let's
this is the Guppy outfit. He made the show in '98, 98 Erie Open, and we also wore this for the King of the Lanes Family Edition.
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
it came in at the beginning of the week. I'm kind of on the speaking things into existence. I said I was going to wear it on the show.
Yeah.
Just
Here
like
we
the
are.
green at the U.S. Open.
Hey, we got to
Maybe
put the
the
plan
manifest.
into existence.
Nice.
Absolutely. And where can they get that jersey? Shout out to your sponsors. Where can they get that if they're looking for a jersey just like that with their name on the back?
I've actually switched to Bolify at the beginning
Okay,
of the year.
nice.
It's been an awesome new partnership with me. We've got some merch out now, new jersey designs, but bolify.com, BOWLIFI, Troop, simple coupon code, TROUP.
I also vote for Bolify. It's a great company.
Yeah, there we
love
go.
it. I love it. So I have a couple things I want to touch up with you because when I first came out on tour, we roomed together, and the first thing that I noticed now, like the growth that you have on the lanes, just like the maturity you have now, is night and day. Not that you were immature, but like I just see the process a lot better. I congratulated you on the U.S. Open win, which was sick, and we were all like, you were so dialed, and you told us you had a saying. What was that saying?
It was quiet mind, quiet body, slow feet.
Okay, so there's that. And then I know that you've been doing Sudoku puzzles, you've been reading. Like, all these things are very mature. Is it to keep your mind busy so that you're not overthinking the bowling? Like, what is the process of why you're doing things like that now?
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of hit that nail on the head there. It's kind of something I figured out this year. To touch real quick on kind of growing up, rooming together and stuff, I didn't really know what the word process was back then. And, got to shout out Callahan and stuff. My first couple years on Storm, I was having dreams of the word process. And, so I've learned a lot as I've gotten older, but I'm definitely having to keep my mind busy, just not to overthink the situation. The scores have been high every week out here, and it's 6-game blocks. It's normally urethane on the fresh. I'm not really getting a lot of score. Negative thoughts, and Sudoku worked well at the U.S. Open. I did pull the Sudoku out the next week, and I couldn't do it. My brain was just fried from 40 games of Sudoku.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got the book this week. Jim Callahan gave me a book, Mind Gym, very popular, mental game, a lot of Olympic athletes. But, and I was highlighting a lot of good things, but it was definitely to keep my mind busy. But then it was also very hard to think negatively or feel negatively as I'm reading through this book. And I've got 20 pages left. So that's the first time in my life I've ever been excited to read.
Nice.
And I can't, I'm going to read here in a little bit before the block.
You got 20.
Before the show.
You say you got 20 pages left. You've been reading all week. Will we see the book on the TV set?
No, I've already planned. I'm gonna finish the book, beforehand.
Yeah.
And then just read through, before every block I was going through, just kind of reading the highlighted parts.
I bowled right next to you all week, and I saw you with the highlighter out.
Yeah, it was
highlighting the good parts that you saw.
It's great. I'm looking forward to reading another book next week. We're gonna try this. I was already talking to Gottschall, the other night, and it's what are you interested in, book wise? I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna tell y'all what books I want. Y'all just give me something to read, and whatever y'all think. But pretty exciting. Good week so far. Mentally, that's where I feel like I'm at my best again right now, is in my mental space. And that's kind of my goal is to keep that at 100, because then the rest kind of just falls in place a little bit.
Absolutely.
So you touched up on the scoring pace a little bit, and I wanted to ask you about that. I feel like since I've been on tour, this is the highest we've seen scores ever, probably since I've been on tour for 6 years or so. Knowing that you need 8 strikes a game now, how does that change the mental prospect? Because it's easy. If you start off a game spare, you're like, man, I gotta throw the next 7 to stay at pace. How does that change for you with your process? Because knowing that you have to strike that much against the best in the world, it's hard to do.
Oh, 100%. And this week has definitely been even higher pace than the last several weeks. But I went through all that the last 2 weeks, and that's why I kind of grabbed this book. So really, it didn't affect my mental process because I was just quiet mind. I was shut off. Bowling didn't really matter. I was reading my book and then go make my shot.
Yep.
And it's 6 games at a time. And the last 6-game block, I was counting down the frames from 60. Today, it's 30.
Yeah.
I just need to give 30, 100%.
I like that.
Mentally and physically, and I can do that. 180.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
You're
but
gonna miss
60 at a time, you can break down in a block, and then 30 in a time. It's even less, so you can put more focus and lock it in even more.
And that brings my question. So you won the U.S. Open. Outside of that, your highest finish is 38th.
Yeah.
So you've either missed the cut
Or win.
and cash. So the week that we cut to 24, but the cash spot was 32. You haven't cashed outside of the $100,000 that you won at the U.S. Open. Was there something that triggered? I know you said the reading a little bit, doing the Sudoku. Was there something different this week, getting on TV again, or was there a different mindset, or what was the process from winning the U.S. Open, missing the cut in Wichita, winning the U.S. Open, and then coming back and missing a couple back-to-back cuts in Chicago and Springfield? What was different this week?
Well, it was a lot of talking. I've had a lot of downtime in the last couple weeks,
Yeah.
only bowling 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And, this last tournament, it was rough. We actually crossed together.
Yeah,
and,
it was rough.
I broke down crying in the block. I had an anxiety attack. It was rough. It was real bad. And, went on to miss that cut, bowled myself out of it. So did a lot of work talking with Rihanna, my fiance, Jesper, Daryl, and just had to realize that my mental stability maybe not be as high as I think it is. And then, I looked back at the Open and I'm like, yeah, I was doing Sudoku. And, so the book just really helped. And then once I was able to just quiet the mind completely, then I know the rest of the process. I bleed that, I breathe that in. It's just my mental block. There was just such a big mental block there. And I was tired of missing cuts. I'm like, damn, I just won the U.S. Open 2 weeks ago. Last week I was 90 in going into the last 6 games and missed the cut and bowled nothing the last 2. So that pissed me off pretty bad. We got pretty drunk. Finally tied one on for the year. And then I'm like, all right, we got to work go to work on my mental game a little bit.
Yeah.
And just tried to stay locked in a little more this week, and it's worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Damn. I guess we all got to start reading.
I'm gonna be honest, I hate reading. I hate reading. But I agree. You talk about the process. The process is what people don't talk about enough. The game is 90% mental, I say. I think it's 90-10. And if you're in a good mental spot or a bad mental spot, the game will expose that. So if you're in a good mental place and you feel good, it just kind of everything starts to click, and you can tell when guys are bowling good.
Oh, you can see it.
You can see it. You can see it within their demeanor, just how they carry themselves, and you can see it the other way. Whenever you're bowling bad, it kind of just gets darker and darker and darker. So you being able to handle that process is awesome to see, really, because not a lot of guys take bowling that serious. Truly, a lot of guys practice a little bit and then they just get mad if they bowl bad, but they don't dissect why did I bowl bad? Where can I start from? And to be able to read and try to change up the typical process shows why you're one of the best in the world and you have been for so many years now, because you're willing to do the extra, where a lot of people get lazy and they don't, especially in bowling. They truly don't. And I talked to Brian O'Keefe, one of the best coaches in the world, the Team USA coach, and he asked me a couple years ago when I was struggling, and he said, how much do you think the game is mental? I'm probably 90%. He goes, how often do you work on your mental game? It's like 10%. You're usually working on your physical game, and you're doing the other route, and it seems to be paying off, even though you've had a little up and down.
But I didn't work on it those weeks.
Right, exactly.
It took me flagging a couple more cuts to put some more work into it.
That process is, it's awesome to see, and you're just out and doing your thing. So, with the scoring pace being high in qualifying, and we've seen it for a couple weeks now where scores have been high, but the telecasts have not. And where at the U.S. Open you bowled sick and you kind of changed what the scoring pace looked like, do you think the scoring pace is going to be higher or lower on the telecast today? Because I feel like it's been lower compared to qualifying every telecast.
My honest opinion would be I have no idea.
Yeah.
I would think lower just because
the lights,
lights,
the typical.
It's always one lane is different than the other, and that gets the difference of the lanes is more drastic, I feel like, on TV shows.
They separate more.
And the other tough part is, are the first 2 guys going to throw a thane? My money says most likely yes, because they did it every block.
Yeah.
But, who knows? If they decide to change something up, if somebody wants to do something different with the game plan. But I just expect the scores to be a little lower, just because the pressure of TV, the squeeze will come in at times, but don't really care.
Of course, you have your process and you're sticking to it. It's just funny to me how high scores have been, and then we get on TV, and we already know that. We've all made telecasts and we know the scoring pace changes, but it's drastic because people are averaging 250 in qualifying. I just don't see the scores being that high through the telecast. Just simply, I don't.
So I have to say we're talking about the scoring pace. Beginning of the week, Dave Smalls announced the 25,000 for the 300, and then you shot 300 in qualifying.
Yeah.
And I seen you got a T-shirt. And I was like, oh, we get a T-shirt if we bowl 300? And I told Dave, I'm gonna bowl 300 this week. And I haven't bowled it yet.
Yes.
More manifesting.
Maybe.
I
we'll
hadn't
see
said
if
that
we can
yet.
save it for the big game. I'll blew the
proprietor-
secret.
No, it's not a secret. We're gonna get to it
were
eventually.
gonna
Yeah,
talk about it
Dave
as well.
Smalls is putting up 25 grand for a title match 300, which is awesome, and he does it every year. I don't know if it's always been 25 grand. I think it was 10 last year, but nonetheless, he's putting up money because he wants to see it happen. Obviously, we do as well. So that's such a tall task. But the fact that it's even up on the board is still sick because you can double your money if you do that. So. Yeah, man. I mean, thanks for stopping in. I didn't want to keep you too long. I have one more thing to ask unless Pat has something else
No, go
for
ahead.
you.
All you.
What is the winning score prediction? What do you think it's going to take to win the title today? Because we do it every week. We figure out what the score is.
Not what do you think it's going to take to win. What score is the score that you think is going to be shot in the final game of the winner?
Yeah. So the winning score?
The winning score will be.
268.
You think it's a big one? 268.
Yeah, I mean, the opponent may not have 260 as well, but I think one of the two guys in the title match are going to be able to throw
So
a
when
strike.
you shoot 268 in the title match, you get to give something away to one of the viewers. Is that you can do that?
Yeah, sure. We'll give you the ball.
If you predict that, we're giving that ball away.
Bet.
Sweet. Well, I mean, we just want to keep it
Appreciate it,
brief,
fellas.
dude.
Yeah,
Very
thanks
good
for
today.
coming
Thanks for
Hey,
coming on.
yeah, shout out to the house, everything y'all are doing. Y'all are bringing a lot of attention to the game, from a different aspect of it too.
Yeah,
so keep up the
appreciate
good
it.
work.
Thank you.
Subscribe. Don't
Dial
forget.
in. Go read your book.
Subscribe. You heard it there.
You heard it. Go freaking subscribe. He said so. All right. Well, that was our 3 seed, Kyle. Stepping into the booth real quick. We
Until
appreciate
someone
him
else
doing
steps
that.
in, we're picking Kyle to win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We knew that Kyle would do something like that. He loves to be a part of the exposure, and he's just a good friend. So we figured it'd be cool to get some insight of a guy right before the telecast. So again, we appreciate him coming in, even though he's got the process of practicing and stuff. So it's awesome just to hear kind of like the mindset right before you go. Like it just changes, but nonetheless. So with that being said. What's next on the topic? We've got some odds to talk about. We've got more players to talk about. We have a lot of storylines here today, really. So
Yeah, there's a ton of storylines. I think first we'll touch probably my guess. Let's just go over some of the strategy that I think these guys are going to use on the set.
okay.
We can talk from bowling balls to different players, how we think they're going to start. So it will be a two-hander versus one-hander start with brand newcomer Zach Wilkins and Benji Martinez, both
Yes.
on hammer staff.
Yes.
I think they're going to both use urethane. I think they'll use the black hammer somewhere near the outside to start.
Yep.
And then gradually, as the match goes in, I saw Benji Martinez, who
I bowled next to him.
bowled very well.
Yeah.
Every block, he went black hammer 1 or 2 games, switched to the mindset. I'm assuming on this show, it'll be no different.
Yeah. So to touch on Benji, it's his second telecast. I'm pretty sure. His first telecast was in the Southwest Regional Players, and I actually beat him in a roll-off, and that was the first time I've ever met Benji. He doesn't bowl full-time out here, but he's a stud, and he almost broke the record for 6 games. He needed a strike in the 10th, and he messengered a 10-pin, he said a rocket of a messenger.
He sent a messenger across the deck. It felt like at 20 miles an hour.
Yeah,
and it just
and it
missed.
missed, so he missed the record by 10. So he was striking like crazy. But I got to watch him for the first 18 games, and he tried to stay in the black one a little longer than most because as his ball started to get offline, he would start lofting it and throwing it a little harder. So he stayed in the black probably a game longer than most. And then he immediately went 30 left and shipped it to the gutter and did the ultimate steep angles. But I agree. I don't see them not throwing urethane. They hook so much, and the urethane balls look so good to start. So I don't see the process being different. Zach being a two-hander with a little bit lower ball speed and having a high rev rate on the fresh, I don't see him trying to start at 20. I think he's going to try to control all that hook, and they're easy enough. These guys are going to be able to strike. But the first matchup is 2 guys that we don't see on TV. It's Zach's first telecast ever, so there's going to be some nerves there. It's
Yep.
only Benji's second. There's going to be nerves there. So do you think that helps both of them bowling against like a non-vet? Like if they were to bowl Kyle in the first match, I think it would really expose the guy's first telecast. Where now it's like, well, I'm bowling a guy that's in the same position as me. Let's just bowl.
Yeah.
And then whoever gets over that first match, I think they can get a little more comfortable because, as you know, when you get on telecast, once you get that first one under the belt, and then it just turns into just the regular process of bowling. So does it help them that they're bowling against each other instead of one of the superstars in the top 3?
Yeah, I would agree. I think for sure. I think it's a whole lot easier to bowl against someone who you don't
More comparable to you.
who you just all these guys who make TV, they got to think that they're the best in the world.
Yeah, for
However, it's a lot easier to think that you're better than the guy you're bowling against when he has the same list of accomplishments as you.
Exactly.
You would say, okay, well, Yeah, this is my week.
Well, you're like, I'm nervous, but this guy's got to be nervous too. Or if you bowl Kyle, you're like, well, he just won the U.S. Open 2 weeks ago. He's not nervous.
Yeah, no,
You know?
and like for example, I won my first tournament in Kokomo, and Matt Ogle beat EJ, so then I was sitting at the 1 seed, and I have to bowl Matt Ogle instead of EJ,
Who didn't have a singles title at the
who
time.
didn't have a singles
Yeah.
title.
It does change your
And
mindset.
it didn't. I don't know if it changed my mindset. I think I would have been equally.
more
I think
comfortable?
I would have been equally nervous regardless. I was terrified. However,
Yeah.
he was in the same position.
Yeah.
So it's not like maybe my performance stayed the same whether I bowl EJ or not.
Yeah.
But maybe his mindset changes a little bit as well, just because he's in the same spot as me. So he's more nervous. EJ bowling against me, probably no nerves.
Right.
Me bowling against Matt, both of us nerves high.
Yeah.
So I think it just, and we both bowled pretty good games, so it was
Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
whatever. But
Yeah, I think because both those guys were striking. Zach was, Benji I think was leading at one point in time. Zach was in second for most of the event, so they both fell down to the 4 or 5 seed because the cream of the crop just rise to the top as always. But they're still in this telecast. But I think if they get comfortable quick, whoever can come out of that first match, they struck just as much as anyone to like make a run. Which we go to the odds. So the betting odds again, guys. Every week we talk about the betting odds, but we do not bet on the odds. We are going to talk about them though, because gambling in the sports world is becoming humongous. So, Zach,
for those of you looking to bet, I think it's like Bet Rivers.
BetRivers.com.
Bet Rivers
Or
usually has it,
RotoWire.
or RotoWire. They usually both have bets
Yep.
that are available. So
Yeah.
what are the odds? Run them down.
So Zach is our 5 seed. He is our biggest underdog. He's at plus 1,700, which is the highest odds we've seen to win so far, because most of the telecasts have been all the superstars. So he's plus 1,700, and he's bowling against Benji in the first match, who's plus 1,600. So these guys are huge underdogs, because then we go up to Kyle as the 3 seed at plus 450, and then we go to Marshall as the 2 seed at plus 300, and then EJ is our first time we've seen a guy minus, and he's minus 134 to win. Where
He's just having that good of a year.
all the other weeks, it's usually the one seed's like plus 100. It's like even money. Well, this is a little bit less. But Zach and Benji are the big underdogs, plus 16, plus 1,700. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if whoever wins that first match can get comfortable and can give these superstars a run for their money. Not saying Zach and Benji aren't superstars, but comparative to all the telecasts being made, the titles won, these are the new, like a fresh face that we're going to see. So I wouldn't count the 4 or 5 seed out just quite yet. I know Kyle's dialed in. He came in, and we think he's on the right path, but man, these guys were striking. So I'll be curious to see. I'm not quite sure who I pick in the first match, honestly.
Yeah,
Scores are so high.
In the first match, I would probably pick Benji, but in terms of winning, EJ just seems to be unbelievable this week.
Yeah, I haven't got to the winning yet because I don't even know. But like the first match, here's my only thought process
We
of the
do
first
have,
match.
speaking of numbers,
Yeah.
speaking of all of that, we have special guest here, PBA
Yes.
analyst, writer. We have Nolan.
Nerd out with Nolan.
We have Nolan here. He's gonna do a little segment for us, Nerd Out with Nolan. He's gonna run through a lot of the numbers, the history, all that sort of stuff that you guys
The stuff
might
we
not
don't
know,
talk about.
and the stuff that we probably don't even know.
Yeah.
That you guys will get a little insight from Nolan every week here on the show.
Where do you guys
got
want to
for
start?
us?
Where do you guys want to start?
Wherever you want to start.
All right, I feel like we're in Indy. We're in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
In the Indy area. EJ has done pretty well in this area. You could say he's the Hoosier daddy of the state.
The Hoosier
Hoosier
Daddy.
That
He's,
was corny. I love it.
Oh yeah. 7 straight top 4 finishes in the state of Indianapolis in national tour stops. 7 straight.
7 straight top 10.
That's
top
crazy.
4.
Top what?
Top 4.
Top
He's
4?
made it-
Oh my God.
made a
He's made a
telecast.
show every time in the state
Every
of Indiana.
time. The last time, 7th in 2020 Indianapolis Open, and then 2019. Outside the top 4. But 2020 and beyond, pretty much book it. EJ's making the show.
Since
the
COVID,
king of
he's
Indiana.
making the show in Indy. Jeez.
And
Which
then-
he's from this area too, so it
It's-
probably goes. He gets a little confident. He's got fans that come in, friends, stuff like that.
He told me he bowled. He won the high school singles championship in this bowling center. in high
Oh
school.
wow!
So he's already won in this center.
Just like 20 years ago.
He's
Not
not,
quite
that old.
20.
He's not
15
that
years
Maybe
ago.
like 10 or 15.
well, I'm the same age as him. 15 years ago, whatever.
But yeah, that's if he wins here tonight, he ties Marshall Holman, 12th all time with 22 titles. That's it's quite a lot of titles.
It's a lot.
But yeah, and I take a little bit of credit for this, if I'm being honest. I started working here June 2022, This is my 22nd title event. He's made the show 10 times.
It's probably you,
It's-
honestly.
It's me.
He
I don't
needs
know
to
if
give
it
you a
has
shout out.
anything to do with him, to be honest.
Yeah, it's nothing. It has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with you.
Actually, 10 title matches, 16 finals.
So 16 finals out of the 22 that you've been at. Oh my God.
Are you tired of seeing his face yet?
A little bit.
We need some
So
new
you
faces.
love Zach and Benji in there. All right.
All right, speaking of Benji, we were college rivals a bit. I went to LMU, he went to SCAD.
Let's say he went to SCAD, right?
He was supposed to actually transfer to my school, but they messed up the paperwork a little bit there. So,
Hey.
yeah,
it's
Benji's
tough.
the guy, right? Benji's the guy. He would be the first player from Mexico to win a title
Yep.
if he wins today. Which,
Yeah. which
So the
would be
first
awesome.
titleist from the country.
yeah.
Wow. And there was another chaser also from Mexico.
Yeah, Arturo.
Him and
Finished
Arturo.
6th. He was first out of the show by like 50.
When's the last? Do you know when the last time a Mexican bowler made the show?
Probably
Probably was
Arturo
Arturo.
2022 players.
The
Oh, okay.
players
Wow.
regional.
But I thought it was cool. Benji, he made the 2021 Southwest Players Show. I think you guys would know that pretty well. He bowled you,
And
Yeah.
lost
And-
to me in a roll off. What's up?
and then you bowled him the next match.
Yeah, I know.
That was
Whoopee.
pretty, that
Yeah.
was pretty funny. Yeah, that
Yeah.
6-2 to lock him out. I enjoyed watching that last night.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for the low blow compliment. I appreciate that.
But yeah, the Benji from the PTQ to the championship round. Not too many guys won out of the PTQ before, so that'd be pretty special.
It's a
That would be
grind.
wild.
Yeah, it's a grind.
Wilkins, breakout year.
The 5 seed, but
Well,
50th in points last year.
yeah.
And now,
Barely snuck in this PTQ.
yeah, it's wild.
They so many of the PTQ guys talk about, just give me a chance, and I'll prove it. He's proven it.
He's definitely proven it. He also changed companies.
Mm-hmm.
So we're curious, like, how much did that come into play? It had to have some because he's bowling so
Yeah,
good.
there's so many things going, I would say, in Zach's favor. He was with Motive for like 10 years, switched companies, so got something new in his hands. He had made the top 50 in points, which means he's in the tournaments every week. So even if it doesn't go well, he's getting the full amount of games. He's bowling 18 games instead of 7. He's getting to practice on those patterns. He's getting to bowl. Next week during the PBA league, he'll be on our team. So there's just, I feel like the Zach train is on its way up to the top right now.
Yeah, he's
In
definitely on
terms
the
of
map.
he's bowling well every week. He doesn't have to bowl the PTQs. He's in every event, so that's really all he's focused on is bowling well, winning, trying to figure it out.
I believe he's 5th in the on-tour in average finish this year with like 11.6,
Wow.
something like
He's
that,
bowling
which
really
is
good.
Yeah.
really impressive. And if he were to win tonight, he'd be the 4th Canadian to ever win on the tour. The last one was your
Mitch,
boy
yeah.
Mitch last year.
We won the
Yes,
doubles, yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Mitch wherever you're at.
Probably not watching.
Kyle has been, it's all or nothing for him lately, huh?
Yeah, we just talked to him about
we
it's
touched on
top
that.
or bottom.
If he were to win 3rd win in the last 8 title events, which no one else has more than 2, Simo's won twice there. EJ has not won during that stretch, interestingly enough.
And he's made 4 out of the first 5 shows of the year.
Yep.
Kyle would have beaten EJ for all 3 of those titles at some point along the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he'll need to beat him again if he wants to win.
Another one. Another one.
And this would be his 3rd time winning multiple titles in a season. 2020, 2021, and then this year if he were to win tonight.
Wow.
Which is so hard to do.
yeah, dude, it's
So hard to do.
ditto for Marshall, who would be 2nd win in 3 weeks, 2nd time in his career. He's won 2 titles in a season. 2017 was the last time he did that. Player of the year race would tighten up in a hurry if any of these top 3 guys
I
get
would
win.
agree. I
Top
think it
three.
already
Who's
is.
the leader in the PBA points right now?
It's going to be Bill no matter what.
It's going to be Bill no matter who wins today.
Correct, yeah.
Because he made all the major shows.
Both major shows.
Yeah.
And won one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's made all the cuts.
So he's going to be leading after regardless, and then
However, I think amongst the players, he probably, because it's the player of the year is a player vote. And I think amongst the guys on tour, I don't know what you would say, but I would say if EJ or Kyle, or maybe not EJ, but if Kyle wins today, I would put him up top because he would have the major plus the secondary win of a non-major. And even Marshall going 2 titles in one season,
Well,
I always just view multiple titles and multiple telecasts a little more above the single title.
I would agree. I mean, like, EJ winning player of the year, obviously he should have, but it's like it's so hard not to pick Simo there too because he was top 10 every week. So it's like it says something that EJ hasn't won yet, but he's made 4 out of 5 telecasts. So it's like how? It's so hard to do. Yeah, he hasn't won, but like the standard is so high right now.
Also shows how hard it is to win.
Yeah, exactly. No matter how many chances you get, yeah, it's hard to finish the job.
He's made 4 straight shows. If he makes a show next week in Delaware, that would tie the all-time record, 5 straight championship rounds.
That's all it is. It has to be Belmo, right?
No, it's a few other guys, but I don't
Wow,
believe
I'm surprised
Belmo
by
was on that list.
I'm surprised by that.
Interesting. But yeah, any questions you guys got for me? I got some. I
You
might
got
be able to
you got
dig
a
in.
fun fact of the day?
Fun fact. I think it's that Who's Your Daddy?
I think you just love that one line.
You'll
EJ's
see.
one.
That is a crazy fact. Honestly, that is insane. And I kind of knew that too because like I think about it. He's always the hometown kid when we go bowl the U.S. Open and stuff, and he always bowls well. And I'm like, well, he's from here. He always has a big crowd to come hang out with him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then right when you said that, it like clicked. I was like, he really does just always bowl well when we're in Indiana. Like it has it. I mean, when I bowled in Springfield the first year, like it just is a little bit different atmosphere. You're a little more confident. You're a little more comfortable. You see faces that kind of keep your mind busy from bowling because you get to talk to your friends and stuff. And it's like, dang, but that's crazy. 7 shows.
That's a testament to like you bowled so well in Springfield last year, and then this year
And
didn't
then
go
I
so
finished
well.
last. Yeah.
But like, no matter what you throw at EJ, he makes it there. At
He
the
just
end.
does it. He gets the job done regardless,
It's
which is
insane.
wild.
It's insane.
Jeez.
All right, I got some stuff running around here, but I appreciate you guys. letting
Yeah,
me
yeah,
on
appreciate
here.
you
for sure.
hopping on.
We love it.
We'll nerd out with Nolan.
We'll never have those stats.
Thanks.
So you'll just be on every week if you want to.
All right, I appreciate it, guys. See you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nerd out with Nolan. He's bringing the stats that we'll never know. We'll literally never know those stats, guys. So don't expect that from us. You know, we're more about what we saw this week bowling with these guys head to head next to them, whatever the case. So
We would like to give a shout out while we're here. Doug, $10 for the super chat. We really appreciate it. You both doing these prelims. Please qualify better so I don't have to see you listen. Listen, my man Doug,
Bro.
we are trying.
we are.
We're trying.
We're struggling, but we're trying, and I'm really struggling. But nonetheless, if we can't get there, at least we're bringing you guys entertainment. I mean,
We try.
We're trying. We're trying one way or another. Nonetheless.
And then Scott V, you guys are my 2 favorite lefty power, your favorite bowling ball.
The one that strikes the most.
The one that strikes the most. We
Yeah.
are absolutely, if you guys have any questions that you want for sure answered, super chat's the best way to get them noticed. We will answer them, but they have to be show related.
Yeah,
so
we want to keep this on.
when you guys
on
do
topic of
ask
the telecast,
questions,
we
please
don't want to get away from that.
Don't ask me what ball is the best or how should I drill this. That'll be for a different live session, a different day,
Yeah.
and I'll answer all those then. However, for right now, we're focused on the telecast.
We got 5 guys to talk about, and we want to see who's winning the title, and that's what we're talking about today. But again, we appreciate the questions, the chats, all those things. But just going forward, we just want to talk about the telecast because that's what we're here to do today. So, nerding out with Nolan. I love
Nerd
that.
out with Nolan.
I
New
love
segment. Let us know down below what you guys think of that. I'm gonna start
Who's
running.
your daddy?
I'm gonna start running a poll right now. Just of I've done this. We've done this every week.
that. Yes.
Of who you guys think's gonna win every match.
Zach versus Benji.
Match number 1,
Underdogs.
Zach versus Benji. Is it Benji with a Y?
I.
Benji
It's
with an
Benjamin.
I. I think, and we'll do it with a Y.
I think it's definitely with
I think they put it with a Y on.
All right, whatever.
You guys,
Nonetheless,
you guys please roast me down below.
Yeah, autocorrect us because we suck. Who are you going with? You didn't.
Zach, so we'll go through this kind of as the people vote. Once it gets to 100 or 200 votes, we'll kind of just rock with it.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and sway the needle. I am gonna pick Zach.
Really? I'm thinking Benji just because Benji's been here one other time. I also.
So Zach, you keep saying that Zach did make a doubles telecast, and I
know.
I understand it is doubles.
And
However,
I really don't think it matters. Keep saying that, and I actually don't think it matters that much. Both their telecasts were a couple years ago, and like Zach's bowling better overall. But here's why I say Benji. For one, he was striking like crazy for a majority of the event. And 2, I think Benji's game is going to keep him out of trouble early. When it's on the fresh, I think Zach could run into a problem because he has low ball speed, high rev rate. You could see some random 5 count where I don't think Benji's going to like have any disaster splits. He's going to stay online more. His game's a lot more simple.
Yep.
And I think that'll help him game 1. That's why I say Benji.
now who do you think? If it's Benji for match number 1, the fans pick Benji. Also, for all you fans out there, Benji's bowled 2 games on TV. We talked about how he bowled Kevin. He's bowled 2 games on TV.
He had
276
Okay.
and 237.
Yep. And he tied me, and we went into a
So-
roll off.
So he's bowled 2 games on TV and he shot over 500.
Which is?
He's average. His current TV average coming into today
Yep.
is 256.
Which is high.
Which is
Because usually
ridiculous.
most people's TV averages are low. Like usually the scores are just lower. And the scoring pace this week is the highest we've seen this year. So does he keep that 256 average up? I think he does.
I don't think he does.
I think he does.
You think he does?
I think he does. I think it's going to
Bet
take
that.
250 to win the first
Bet
game.
that.
Dinner.
Bet that.
I think it's going to take 250 to win the first game.
Okay.
Not like 257, 258. I think it's going to take a 10-strike game.
So this is a question from Multi Beast 32, directly related to what we were talking about, which is
Okay.
what we love. $5 donation. We also love that. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
You think the first guys will use urethane because they can score higher, or because the risk is lower, or perhaps even setting up hold for later in the show?
All of the above. I think they hook enough that the urethane balls look good, and also you don't want to start too deep on the telecast where you get into 20. These guys are going to get into some steep angles and hook it, but you don't want to do that early. And also scores were so high, games 1 and 2 throwing urethane, so they're going to set up the pair nicer because they're going to create hold around 6, 7, 8. They're going to control the lane better, the hook, and then also they were striking. So I think all those things apply. And I think urethane is going to be thrown down the lane by both guys the first game. There's no doubt in my mind. I would put like $11 on it. You don't have a lot of money to put on it, guys. $11.
So if Benji won match 1, like the fan said, and like you say, he faces Troop.
Yes.
I think I know who you're going to pick.
Do you? Who do you think I'm going to pick?
I think you're going to pick the guy that popped in on the show.
You think so?
I think you're going to pick Kyle.
It's hard not to because that's the boy. But
The fans also picked him. And before we get into that, I'll let the fans vote a little bit on that.
yes.
Tyler Schultz shirts. Tyler Shirts.
Shirts.
Tyler Shirts, we appreciate the donation.
Thank you.
And another on-topic question, which is what we love, and a guaranteed answer from us because you paid
We're
$5.
talking about it, yeah,
and you
for
paid,
sure.
and you talk about something on the show.
For sure.
Are the finals thrown on the same pair? Also, for both Packy and Kev, would you rather be the 4 or 5 seed or the 1 seed in the finals? Let's answer the first one first. Are the finals thrown on the same pair? Yes. We've been using this pair all week, and the pair doesn't change. They just keep oiling the same pair for the TV set. Or they oil it once, and then as the match progresses, all the bowlers bowl on the same pair.
Yeah. They'll practice on it for 20 minutes, then they'll oil it again, and then they get their 10 shots apiece, and then you get right into it. So just like qualifying.
And now,
Would you rather be the 4 or 5
4
seed?
5 or the 1 seed? For me,
Obviously,
you'd rather be the 1 seed.
you want to be the 1 seed. You're bowling one game. We don't know the exact stats, but your percentage of running the ladder is very low. It's hard to do.
Unless your name is Jason Bilbon.
Unless you're Jason Belmont, and even then it's hard to do for him. Even
Or
though he's
Anthony
done it
Simonson last week, because it was 100% of Simonson doing it last week.
I agree, but still, everyone knows. Would you rather bowl 1 game or 3 games to win a title? It's 1. The 4 or 5 seed doesn't really matter. The 4 seed gets lane choice of who finishes first and what lane you want to finish on. But once you get here, you're so dialed in, it doesn't even matter that much. I feel at least game 1. Game 1, they're still pretty fresh. You don't see the lanes that different. They don't separate themselves enough. Where Kyle said the lanes start to separate the more that you bowl on them and stuff. So you get to the title match, like we saw Bill,
100%.
the left lane, he 2-8-10 3 times in a row, or 2-10-8 3 times in a row. I think on the fresh they stay a lot more closer to each other. So the 4 and 5 seed don't really matter, but you want to be the 1 seed. You want to bowl 1 game and take your chance. And you got a 50-50 shot.
And I would also take it where we hear guys talk about it, and you might not hear guys talk about it, but we'll talk about it and we'll let you in on some insight right now. We hear guys talk about during the week. You hear guys like Tom Clark say it. You hear other bowlers say it. You kind of want to see the 1 seed win.
You do, because they earned it.
He bowled the best throughout the week, especially in a week like this where EJ was so far ahead.
He led by
200. You kind of want to see
5.
the guy win who deserves the win or who earned his way to the 1 seed.
He doesn't want to lose by 1 game.
No, yeah, it's tough to lead by 200, lead by 300.
He led by 205.
And EJ's done it so many times in his career, and he kind of got knocked on it. But if you think about it, he lost 1 game.
Yeah, exactly.
He might have led for 56, or this week he led for 30 games.
Yeah.
And then you finish second, like that. It kind of stings a little bit more when you lead by that much. But so Tyler Shirts, we want the 1 seed.
You want the 1 seed. You want your 50-50 shot. You got to beat 1 guy, 1 game, because it's just these guys are too good. You can't give guys too many chances. And if you're bowling 3 different guys to win a title, it just gets harder and harder. So, yeah, the 1 seed for sure.
Yo, cover the mic.
Sorry, guys. 1 second. We're going to hide the mic.
All right,
All right, we're back.
We're back.
And we're back.
When do you need to kick us out of here? Okay. I was like, we came a little extra early. We appreciate it. No.
My apologies.
All right.
We love that they're working with us on that.
Yeah. So the bass player, not a question, but I think Randy has been replaced with y'all doing this every week. Sorry.
Randy did say last week that that we did a great job and we're coming for his job, and I said I literally am coming for your job, Randy. So
If I'm not making TV, I want to be on
he
TV.
said that we did a good job. He said we should go watch from the truck and see the difference of that, and I'm gonna take him up on that. But yeah, so we've got
Another
Kyle?
question, real
Okay.
quick. Another paid question, JP. If EJ wins tonight, is he the lead clubhouse for player of the year, or is Bill still because of the points plus major? That's that. So EJ was the hard one for me.
I think they're
we talked
pretty
about it with
even.
Nolan a little bit. EJ was the tough one for me, which I'm glad we have the rest of the season to think about this.
so long.
Um,
I mean, yeah, we have 11 events left.
EJ was the tough one for me because I was like, he hasn't won, but he's performed the best this season.
Yeah,
He has made 5 TV shows. He made the major.
4 TV shows.
He's made 4 out of 5 TV shows.
Yeah, he's finished in the top 5
Yep.
4 times.
he's led this tournament. Has he led another one, or has he just made the show?
I don't remember, to be honest.
We're not
with
good
you.
at our jobs.
Hey, sorry, guys. It's tough. I think they're pretty even right now because the major win is huge, and also Bill's made another major telecast as well, and he's making all the cuts. So I think they're pretty even right now because winning the major does go a little bit further than winning an event like this. So I think they're pretty even as of right now, but we have a long ways to go. So I'm gonna give an answer to it where I think it's still. No, I'm gonna give EJ the runner. I told Bill he was my player of the year early, but man, when you have 4 telecasts in a row and you get a win, even though it might not be a major, that's a consistent start to a year. So I'm gonna give the edge barely to EJ if he wins today for player of the year.
I would probably give it to Bill because he made the other telecast with EJ as well, the other major telecast.
that's true.
And he did win the major. So
That's true.
we're a little
I think
split,
they're
but
just
it's
so
not by
so
much.
yeah, it's
not by
so
much.
close.
So, JP, we really appreciate the question. That was a really
Yes.
solid one. The people picked for match number 2. They picked Troop over Benji, which we could have absolutely known ahead of time.
That's a favoritism pick. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can see Benji winning. Like
I could also see
I
him
can see
winning.
him winning just because his ball struck the most out of anyone when it was striking. He almost set the record, and he could not miss at one period of time. Will he do that again? I'd be hard to say yes, but I could see where one of the 2 guys, the 4 or 5 seed, could get a little hot and they could make a little bit of a run. But then, man, just Kyle's so dialed in.
Agreed.
So dialed in, and he's been one of the best guys on tour for the last 7 years. I am going to still give it to Kyle, but I wouldn't be surprised if Benji snuck it out.
Okay,
just
so
because his ball's striking.
And you mentioning Benji, multi-beast, 32. You think we'll see the loft plus harder like you talked about from Benji, like you mentioned earlier, if he wins? Or does he try and jump in faster on the show and maybe switch into something like a reactive piece?
That's a great question because like we've talked about on every single one of these live streams, and as you hear the players, as you hear Kyle, the transition doubles compared to what it does in qualifying. You got the lights, it's hot, you have the fans. It's just like so many things change how guys attack the lanes. So they get into those zones way quicker where it's like you watch qualifying, those guys don't get into 20 until it's like game 4 or 5. And then you'll see the second match, you might see Kyle inside of 20. So I think that plays at a disadvantage for Benji if they have to jump in early. If he can stay into the Earthen Bowl for 2 games, I think he could sneak it out because he can trick it from further right and he can keep the lane a
like
little
we
closer
saw,
to him.
If he finds the look,
He struck the most.
He struck a
smoked the
ridiculous
most
amount.
this week. Like for the time that he did, when he had that chance at the record, no one was even close to bowling.
and
he was
it was crazy watching him go for the record
He was to
because
the left of me, and I literally looked
Dude,
up and he had a 30 bagger.
and everybody around him, like it got kind of quiet. Everyone around
And
him
every
just
shot
kind
was
of
10
looking.
back.
Everyone's looking. No one's really saying anything.
Yeah.
No one's really talking. Everyone's just talking about him.
Yeah, exactly. And if you ask people, like the pins fell pretty easy this week. There's a lot of weird breaks, a lot of bad and good breaks. When he was striking though for that 6 games, it was just 10 back, 10 back, 10 back. I mean, it literally was all no-brainers. He was bowling insane. So I think if he can find a way to stay further right and not jump in and try to outhook a Kyle Troop game 2, I think he can beat him. But I think it would play his disadvantage if he has to jump in early. I don't think he'll be able to keep up with the two-hander.
Oh, absolutely. And that being said, we got some 2 newcomers on the show. We got a question from Drew Slade. Is this the most talent that the PBA's ever had? There's so many great bowlers making shows and tons of great bowlers barely missing it.
Yes.
Like you see, this is the perfect mix, and we talked about this being almost the perfect show. The U.S. Open show was all of the superstars. Literally,
which was crazy.
Everybody who was Hall of Fame eligible was on the show.
Yeah.
Like
Those
the
were the
top
Power 5.
guys that have been there for years and years, that was them.
Yeah.
And then this week you have 2 newcomers plus 3 of the superstars of the last 10 years. You think yes, this is the most talent?
It's not even close. It's like any sport. Just like the evolution of the game is getting harder and harder to become a professional. Like I don't want to say no one knew who Zach Wilkins was, but like Zach Wilkins just came out of nowhere and he's like top 7 in points. Like he's just bowling insane. Benji doesn't even bowl full time out here, and he almost set the PBA record for 6 games, and he's bowling for a title today. Like, and these are guys that no one really might not hear about ever.
Benji has a full-time job
doesn't
at
bowl
KR
on tour.
Strike Force, bowls the PTQs almost every week, and when he doesn't get in, he goes back and works his full-time job.
Exactly. So yeah, it just gets harder and harder. Everyone's just so much better, and it's just how the evolution of sports goes, honestly. So,
I would agree with it. The Bass player, thanks again for your donation.
Yes.
I know we've been misconnecting on the podcast. I know we've been emailing back and forth. I gotta get back with you. Would you say this is the what would you say is the number one mistake that rookies make when they first join the tour? I think a lot of them are pretty good about it now. I don't think a lot of them make a mistake, but they don't view it as a full-time job. However, what you guys didn't see in our practice video that we posted yesterday, if the camera was on the other angle, there were about like 30 people behind us, all PTQ guys practicing.
Every chance the lanes are on, they show up and they practice.
They practice in between blocks.
They don't waste any moment to get better. And you can't. You gotta. Every shot matters. Every time you can have a conversation with a ball rep, another player who's been out here longer. If you can pick someone's brain, and a lot of these guys are here to learn. Like they aren't afraid to come up to us, like the lefties, Josh Imhoff or something, and be like, "Hey, why can't my ball do this? Or what do you think I should do?" And we're like, "Well, here's what we think."
And if there was a mistake, I would say that was it. But so many of those guys just practice until they make it work.
Yeah,
A guy like Zach Wilkins, I saw him spend a ridiculous amount of hours this offseason.
A lot.
You see
He bowled
him,
every weekend.
He bowled every weekend. He practiced every day. And for him, with his visa situation, he needed to because he couldn't have a job, so he needed some form of money in the offseason.
Yeah. And also to sharpen up because he wanted to have a better year.
Yeah,
here we are.
He had the athlete visa, so he could do the athlete thing, but he can't exactly do the rest of it. So, Jay Jones, 20 Canadian dollars, which I believe is a lot.
I have no clue.
I don't know.
But thank you so much.
But we appreciate you guys.
Canada baby, he said. He wants Wilkins to go.
Just for that, I'm rooting for Zach.
Let's go, Zach.
Just
Let's go, Zach.
for that,
I take back all the things I said about Benji, about Kyle. Let's go, Zach.
And then we got one more question for a bowling newbie. Can you explain the oil patterns used for the finals and how you expect them to play straighter versus more hook? This is a great question because you'll see Rob talk about it a little bit on the show, or Randy talk about it a little bit on the show. You'll see what we saw most of the week, which you guys might not have seen, but people will play straighter to start because of the way that the pattern's built. There's just more friction out there on the gutter. You'll see them throw either bigger, slower bowling balls. Probably the two guys that made the finals. You see throwing urethane, which is just something that can control the pocket. And then as the show goes on, we're losing a little bit of a connection. But as the show goes on, you will see them transition to something a little stronger that hooks more, that they could jump inside with.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between throughout the week is now, again, we can't emphasize enough, like the lights, the set is like 12 degrees hotter every time we bowl on the telecast. That makes the front part of the lane hook more, and when the front part of the lane hooks more, all the right-handers get inside of that, and they try to go around it. So, but it's still the same oil pattern, just the transition is so much quicker.
And we got a couple of questions here. Does anyone know what time the show starts?
Yes,
Where can you see it? It will be on FS1. And it will be starting at 7:30, which is an hour and a half from now.
Yes.
So you'll see everybody live, FS1, the whole squad, and some actual footage that isn't us. You right there on TV. But yeah, so you'll see all the guys FS1, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, an hour and a half from right now. and I think like we talked about with the straight versus more hook, you'll see guys start off straighter, further to the right, but you will see guys wheel and deal it this week.
100%.
Question for you, not
Answer
from
for
the
you.
fans, from me.
Okay.
Will somebody throw it in the gutter?
Yes.
You think someone's throwing
I
a gutter on
think
TV?
I think angles are so steep, and the front part of the lane is going to hook so much, they're going to try to create hold by being steeper through the front part of the lane. And I think guys just don't make quite as good as shots when they're on TV. I could see one going in. I'll say yes.
Oh, I could absolutely see one going in.
Yeah. I didn't see many gutters this week, but just different when you're on TV. It's just a lot different.
It's way different. Way
So
different.
yeah, I think one goes in. So we all said Kyle. You said Kyle's going to beat Benji.
So okay, hold on. First off, the people.
What did the people say?
The people voted, and they matched up EJ versus Troop with EJ getting the win.
So we just skipped over.
Boy. That was supposed to be Troop versus Marshall.
Guys, just get rid of that whole poll because we're just forgetting about Cowboy Troy, Marshall Kent.
Cowboy Troy. I've never heard that.
If you guys probably don't see, but every time Marshall gets done bowling, he's just in cowboy boots with like slacks on and a PBA jersey. So it just looks so funny. So you said Kyle's gonna win over
Marshall
Beach?
with 2 L's or 1? I think
It's 2.
it's 2.
So you think Kyle beats Benji?
I think Zach beats
Okay.
Benji, and then
Kyle wins.
Kyle probably wins. I think the way that Kyle gets the fans into it and such, I think it's
Oh yeah.
it's hard to compete against that if you
When everyone's rooting for
haven't been there a million times.
Yes, I agree. So Kyle versus Marshall
And then we have
Kent,
Kyle versus Marshall Kent,
which Marshall's
and
won once this year.
the fans are voting right now. Currently, 100
Pretty even.
100 votes in, 90 votes in. We got 50-50 basically.
As you guys can hear, they're starting to practice behind us, so
It's getting
we're
loud.
speaking to the mics a little bit better for you. But Kyle over Marshall, I didn't get to see Marshall bowl that much this week. Where when Kyle won in Chicago, he bowled to my right, and it was the easiest pick I could ever make for a prediction to win because I watched how good he bowled. I didn't bowl close to Kyle, and I didn't bowl close to Marshall, and I didn't watch much of like the advancers rounds. So this is so up in the air. I think I don't know. Who you going with? I gotta gauge who is winning this one.
I've never seen Marshall throw it better in my life.
Yeah, he's bowling really good.
Right now, looking behind us, he has his index finger taped up a ton.
He's had it taped up.
Has he had it taped
He's
up all
had it
week?
taped up.
He didn't have it taped up in the league. He was messing with different types of tape in the league. Obviously, it's whatever he picked worked.
Yeah.
That being said, though, dude, Kyle is just something different.
Oh, and the rack just gets hit in practice by Marshall Kent. Marshall Kent's losing now. Just kidding.
He also knocked pins down.
Nice. Yeah, I would agree. Marshall is just bowling. This is the Marshall we're seeing now is the Marshall who first came out and was hitting the tour and was the guy and was the prodigy, the golden boy. Like, this is who that Marshall was 6 years ago, whenever it was. He is bowling sick, but he's bowling sick and he's going up against a guy that's bowling just as sick in Kyle. So, like, this is such a toss-up. I think they're going to both play the lanes the exact same. I think they're both throwing the ball very well to where, like, shot making is not going to be a problem. I think if it did come down to it, I think Kyle is going to gear down a little bit better than Marshall. I think Marshall, his game could get away from him a little bit more than Kyle's could. And I think that's the only difference between a Kyle and Marshall matchup is like one bad shot that gets away from you that might not, it doesn't even like split, but you might like, 3-6-10 or something. And guys aren't going to give up the hole very much. So I'm going to give Kyle the advantage because I think he's just going to be a percentage better a shot. He's
We're
gonna be 10% better.
170 votes in,
And it's
it is
50-50.
dead 50-50.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I really can see it going both ways, but I'm going to pick, for the sake of our predictions, I think Kyle edges him because he's just 10% better. He's just a hair better. 1% of frame gets him there. That's
I'm
my
giving
pick.
W's in the chat to anybody who votes Marshall right now to bump my boy up.
Dubs in the chat.
Dubs in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the poll. It's very 50-50. These guys are like
I
both on
agree.
the same plane right now. They're both on the same wave. They're both bowling good. Again, they're going to play the lanes the exact same. No one's, like you see when we watch like Simon make a telecast, he's got like some wild cards up his sleeves where sometimes he just plays a whole nother part of the lane. Marshall and Kyle and EJ, none of them are going to do that. They're all going to be in the same part of the lane. Beat me from 20 or 15 or wherever they're going to be striking from.
Who do I If I have to end the poll at 200 votes and it's 50-50, who do I?
You better end it right now because you have to be the decision maker. I got Kyle.
I got
Barely.
Marshall. I got Marshall.
So it stays
Oh, it
50-50.
It says Marshall at 50, Troop at 49.
Ooh.
So it didn't even add up to 100, but that's how close the vote was. So
I
now-
agree with the vote. I mean, I
now
agree
we're
with the
going
votes there.
Marshall, new poll,
So it's Marshall
Title
versus
match.
EJ.
title match for the fans.
Double. So if it is this, for one, the first thing I have to say is they're doubles partners, and they won the doubles event last year together.
They're doubles partners.
Or 2 years ago. Sorry,
They won the
you
doubles
guys
event
won.
2 years ago. Yeah, don't
So
put some respect on it.
Yeah, it's my bad. The boys won. Furta. So it would be Marsh versus Each.
In Marsh versus
Good
Each.
friends. Who do you give the advantage there? Again, at the beginning, I don't even know if I said, but at the beginning, I didn't know who was gonna win this because like I can just see it going literally any way. Where all the rest of the weeks you can kind of see the guys that are doing the right thing a little better. Scores are so high. It's EJ Tackett in the title match, but Marshall's rolling sick. Kyle's riding the wave. So again, I think it's a 50-50. I think it just comes down to like who gets a bad break. Who kind of can't get a ball to strike.
From Multi Beast 32, Chris Vi said Marshall was only 50 back of Benji's monster block, so he had a similar striking pace in him. I'm watching him practice right now behind us. He's playing a little bit deeper, which is exactly what you would think.
Yes.
He's not practicing something that he's not going to do. He's not going to try and throw the urethane.
Yeah.
He's going to practice. He's going to be
He's
in
the
he's going to
second
be
to
in
last
match number 3.
Yeah, he won't be in your
He's
thing.
going to be in match number 3. He knows
I
he's
agree.
going to probably be in something like that stealth, something stronger. And like Chris Vi said, he was only 50 back of Benji's monster block.
Which
the
is
same
crazy.
block that Benji went 430 over, Marshall went 380.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Insane. And we didn't even talk about it because Benji was breaking a
And
record.
then he went 300 over again and again, block after block,
Yeah.
just kind of keeping up with the pace, setting his own pace.
Marshall
almost.
started off the tournament pretty bad. Like I remember he was like pretty, I say low in the standings. He wasn't close to the cut at first, and then next thing you know, you look up and he's averaged 260 for 15 games.
Insane.
Yeah, so I think the EJ Marshall, I think it comes down to it, because scores are so high and these guys are all bowling so good, it's literally going to come down to like who can't quite get their ball through the pins or who makes one bad shot that costs them. Because I think they're all going to be close matches. I think they're all going to play the lanes the same.
I think Marshall makes a bad shot and it strikes.
I think Marshall beats EJ if Marshall gets to the title match.
I think if Marshall gets the title match, he's throwing it, like I said, so good right now.
Yeah.
I watched him. It felt like I watched him level up.
I
It felt
agree.
like
I agree.
It felt like 2 weeks ago when we were in Chicago, I watched him throw those 3 shots to win, and I was like, wow.
They were no-brainers.
2 years ago, I don't think Marshall throws
Out the
those
window.
shots, and this year, you see him just throw 3 shots that were like 0.5 different at 40 feet down
Yeah.
lane.
To
and
win
they were
a title.
The exact same speed, the exact same rev rate
Yeah.
to win. In the highest pressure situation of his career, you saw him perform the best.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm giving it to Marshall.
I
Again,
also am gonna give it to
Multi-Beast, Thank you for
Marshall.
the donation.
Yes.
If you guys do donate, first off, we love you regardless. But if you do donate,
just a little less if you don't.
we will answer your question. But we will only answer your question
About the telecast.
if it is about the telecast,
Yes.
like right here,
Yes.
or some of the players on the telecast.
Yes, anything
Speaking-
related to today's topics.
Speaking of, somewhat a little bit off today's topic, but
Uh.
the Belmo question as always.
Mhm.
Whenever he gets mentioned, we got to talk about it.
Yeah, clickbait,
In your
clickbait.
personal opinions, why has Belmonte become a slower starter during qualify as of late? Do you see anything that's holding him back? No.
No, he just doesn't match up on the fresh as well as his game does the rest of the way. That's just all it is. Like he just hooks it more. He wants to get left, and sometimes he has to slide at 12, and that's just not his A game. And he's a little behind, and then he figures it out. That's it. Simple as that.
I think he used to have a really good handle on it with the pitch black. I think the red ball is a little different.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's different bad for him. I just think it's different for him, so
Where he's a little behind.
He just has to get a little used to it.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
you see him 2 weeks and
Just
the
an
red ball
adjustment
is fine.
period.
Yeah.
Well, and you saw he shot 300 to start the last block that he bowled this week. So like he'll be just fine, guys.
Yeah,
He'll be-
absolutely.
his pedestal's just so high, his standard's so high that we're like he's a slow start. And it's like he's still averaging 240 on the fresh or something.
Yes,
down. So
ridiculous.
it just is what it is.
Oh, sheesh.
So what do you think, Marsh each?
Marshall?
Because I think if it gets to Marshall versus EJ, I think Marshall has the edge.
You think if it gets to Marshall versus EJ, Marshall has the edge? I would agree.
Yeah.
I'm picking Marshall to win if it gets to him. However, I think Troop wins it.
You think Troop is going to run the ladder? Well, I say run the ladder. I thought you picked Marshall to win over Troop.
I did.
So what are we doing here? What are we talking about?
I'm
right
all
now?
over the place.
What are we talking about?
I
right
want
now?
too many guys to win. I want them all to win.
I truly, and
Can
I'm
they
not,
all win? Is that possible? Can they all?
Now you're being
Could they
like
slice
a
the-
lame.
could
like,
they slice the
now
trophy
you're
up
being
5
politically
spots?
correct, like the commentators. I want everybody to win. No, I want to see some people lose. No,
Yeah. Who do you want to see lose most? Put them on the spot. If you could see one guy shoot 140 on this telecast, who would it be?
You know, I'm big on. If I'll answer this, don't bite my head off, guys. I'll answer this. I'm big on like letting other people eat. So like, man, EJ's gotten his for the last 2 years. He just won 5 titles. He's made 4 telecasts. If he pulls 130 on TV, so be it. That's not what I'm wishing for, guys. I'm just answering the question, okay? Simple as that. Here's the thing. I'm going to keep reiterating it. I can see anyone winning today. I think the underdogs, not quite as much, but the top 3, I can literally see any one of them winning. Like, this is the hardest decision I think we've made so far this year on who's going to win a title. I truly do. But I'm going to go. See, you said Kyle.
You're welcome. You're a certified hater.
Don't start this, guys. It was a jokey joke.
If I was to pick somebody to win, I'm picking the guy on my league team because I want him.
Marsh?
I want him riding that wave to
I think it's
Titletown,
Marsh.
USA.
I think it's Marsh.
If
I think
I'm
Marsh
picking
gets
someone
it.
who I actually think is going to win, I think EJ is going to win.
You think EJ's gonna win?
Yeah, he's due.
So okay, so
4 shows in a row, he's due.
So every week we talk about who we think's gonna win and who we want to win. It's like an underdog, our underdog pick and our obvious pick.
So we'll pick. Well, right now, as on the screen, we'll take somebody for the money.
For the odds.
So we're doing a pick for the money.
Okay, we're talking about if we're betting.
If you're betting,
Okay, I'll bring the odds back up, guys. If you didn't hear them earlier, we've talked about it again. Like we say, we don't bet. We're not allowed to bet on the bowlers. But for the people that do want to bet, you can go to RotoWire or Bet Rivers, and they have betting odds today for the telecast. So the 5 seed is Zach Wilkins. He's at plus 1,700. That's big money. That's the biggest odds we've seen for someone to win so far this year. The 4 seed is Benji Martinez. He is at plus 1,600. These guys are huge underdogs because it goes from 1,700, 1,600 to Kyle Troop at plus 450. So it's a quarter of that. So, and then your 2 seed is Marshall. He's at plus 300. And then your 1 seed, the first minus we've seen for the odds at minus 134 is EJ to win a title today, to get over the hump of not winning out of the 4 telecasts he's made. Who am I taking for the money? I'm taking.
yeah, if you're gonna place a bet, who you
I'm
take?
taking Marshall plus 300. I think he's bowling well. I'm taking Marshall at plus 300. It looks enticing to see a plus 1,700 and
Benji
a
or
plus
Zach.
1,600 because it's like you could put a small bet and make a large amount of money. But those numbers are the numbers for a reason. The Vegas always wins. So I think I'm going to go plus 300 because that's pretty good for a guy who we think are bowling very, very, very good. Plus 300, Marshall Kent would be my bet if I was trying to make a house payment. Someone put that in, and if you guys make money off that, I won't take a cut, but like just let me know that I was right. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to get in trouble. You know, we're not betting. Again, we are not betting. It's just what the people want to know because I know y'all some degenerates out there. I know it.
My pick for the money would also be Marshall.
Yeah. I mean, plus 300. The odds are
Yeah,
pretty
plus
sweet.
300. He's only got to win 2
2
games,
matches, and he's bowling
he's
good.
already won a title this season, so he knows what it feels like. He knows the situation, and he's probably ready to do it again.
I agree. Yeah, that's who I'm picking for the money.
And now, who are you picking for?
Just to pick to
just for
win.
you.
I think my
if you were
answer's
to
the
pick
same.
someone you actually thought was going to win, who would you pick?
I think my answer is the same. I think it's Marshall. I've talked about this a couple times because EJ's made 4 telecasts, and it's going to sound like I'm a certified hater again, but we've seen it at times where EJ underperforms compared to who he is. And you know, Nolan came on and he said that he's made 7 telecasts in a row in Indiana. He's going to have a lot of family and friends here. And I think when it comes down to one shot making the difference, EJ might have that bad shot that, like you said, that Marshalls might strike, where EJ's might not do the right thing and it might split. And I think that's literally going to be the difference of every match. It's going to be one shot that just isn't quite there, and you might 10-pin or whatever. So I could see where EJ doesn't get it done because of one shot that just is a little off, a little bit bad carry, and Marshall gets a break or something.
I'm picking Marshall for the money. I'm picking EJ for the win.
For just the win.
It'll be his first win as a dad. He's made
Yeah.
4 TV shows. I think he might have a little extra motivation. He'll have some family here.
Yep.
He's got EJJ.
Yep.
He's got Eddie Dean Jr. here. Or is he a junior?
Someone
is he
in
the
the
third?
cha-
Is he the third?
Someone in the chat said 268, 247. And that's what Kyle said. Kyle said 268 is going to win. Do you think scores are going to be that high
I
in the
don't think
title
it'll be that
match?
high.
I don't think so either.
That being said,
I don't think so either.
we got about 5 minutes left here.
Yes.
Dave Nyes, thank you. You guys are awesome. Have you tried a shiny polished Hellcat this season? I haven't, but again, we are sticking to the TV show questions.
Only
but we
TV
do
show
appreciate your
questions.
donation. Thank you so much. We're doing our best here to promote the TV show. Once again, 7:30 on FS1. That's going to be in an hour and 15 minutes.
So,
Corey Hyatt, y'all are amazing. Keep up the greatness.
thank
I'm
you.
in the building with y'all.
Appreciate that.
Wherever you are,
Thank you,
we
Corey.
see you. We don't know where Corey
So,
is, but thank you.
I want to touch up again for the guys that didn't see early on. We talked about it. So we just want to give a thanks to the sponsors. We want to give a thanks to the proprietor. Dave Smalls is the proprietor here at Championship Lanes. And he has always been a great host. He's hosted 89 or 90 PBA events. It's one of those two numbers.
He's in the 80s for sure.
I think it's 89, but
Okay.
he's hosted 80 plus events, which is unheard of for PBA events. He's putting up a $25,000 bonus to anyone that shoots 300 in the title match. Yes, the odds say that's going to be very hard to do, but the fact that he's putting up 25 grand makes it really fun
Just
to
a
watch
little
if it
more
can happen.
excitement.
It does. If you get a guy with the front 6 or 7, you're going to start talking about doubling their money. So, Just Bear is one of our main title sponsors. This is the Just Bear Classic, the Indiana Classic. So again, I just wanted to touch base with the people that are making this happen, along with Fox and the PBA as well, of course. But Dave Smalls, an amazing host always. He's always just smiles. He's always in a great mood. He always has snacks for us. He's always got nothing but good things to say and the great energy to bring. And anyone that's here knows that. He always brings that energy. And he's just a guy who loves watching bowling. We need more of that in the world. We really do. So thank you again to Mr. Smalls.
And we'll give one final question before we dip out here, guys. Thanks again for tuning in.
Yes,
all
appreciate you.
938 of you, thank
Yes.
you a ton. Thoughts on Marshall's resurgence, and then we're going to close it down shortly after switching to Hammer and having a little bit larger of an arsenal. I think some people, as they go through their careers, they switch companies, their game kind of changes to fit the company,
Yes.
whether you switch to big bowling and you start hitting up on it a ton,
Yes.
or you start really trying to make your ball do something that it's not supposed to do,
Yep.
or you start trying to make your ball do something that you want it to do and it can't. Right now, he's got such a large arsenal. I've never seen him more confident. I've never seen it cleaner off his hand.
Well, I told him
I love it.
at the beginning of the year, I said, Marshall, I just want to let you know, like, regardless of what your bowling is, you physically look the best I've seen in a long time. Your hand's doing the right thing again. It's going through the pin so much better. It's mauling the 8-pin every time, where last year when he came back to Hammer, he was a lot more forward. He was up hitting it really bad, and his ball was just getting too forward down lane, where now he's getting around it a little quicker. It's coming off the hand faster. He can get those steep angles again like you've seen on tour. He can hook the whole lane. And I was like, dude, I'm just letting you know, like, without knowing what your season's going to look like, you look great. And he was like, dude, I appreciate it. I finally got to like work on my game a little bit more in the off season, and things are coming around. I was like, let me tell you, I noticed. Like, and I don't even watch Marshall bowl that much outside of the tour.
He's not falling off shots. He's staying down.
His hand's just doing the thing.
It looks like every shot is, as Chris Barnes like to say, on purpose.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you guys for tuning in.
We
Frank,
appreciate you guys
thank
as
you
always.
also for the $5 dono.
Yes, sir.
Step ladders, nothing but a bunch of mid. Give me Bob Ross for the win.
Give me Bob Ross for the win.
I
That
think
is
we all
Kyle
know who
Troop.
Bob Ross is.
Yes,
Kyle Troop.
we
But
do.
thank you guys for watching.
Appreciate
we
you
appreciate
guys so
tuning
much.
into the pre-show show. Follow the PBA for all of the action during the week.
FS1, 1 hour.
PBA on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Follow them for all the in-block highlights, scores while we're going throughout the week. You can follow us here at the house. And as always, FS1 for the classic events here at 7:30 in a little over an hour and 10 minutes.
Tune into that.
Watch.
And
we'll
we'll
be
see
watching.
you.
You'll be watching. And we will see you guys.
On the next pre-show show. Because again, every week. Bye.
We love you.